Let's invite you. Okay, essentially a test. I'm gonna redo this one, last one on YouTube. Audio, hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. It is basically a duplication glitch. This is for Pal the game. He killed an NPC, and I can't blame him really. So, the way that you can do the duplication glitch is using a ledge. I don't consider this a safe way because you're going to essentially come over to your inventory space and you're going to use any item that you can use up to duplicate. So in this case we're going to be duplicating a soul item. What you're going to need to do the duplication is you're going to need the Miracle Force, and you're going to need an item that can be instantaneously used up. Something like a throwing knife, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. So we're going to go ahead and use, for instance, in this case, Soul of Twin Princess, which is 20,000 souls. Gonna hit use, and I'm going to actually use this item, and right before I use it up, so you're going to see the animation start up, I'm gonna drop off the ledge. And you can see my character was using it up. I dropped off the ledge. It cancelled, alright? Notice the amount of souls that I have. I have 33,000 souls. Using up the Soul of Twin Princess would have netted me 20,000 additional. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave the Soul of Twin Princess on the ground, and we're going to use the Force Miracle, and as the Force Miracle is being used up, we're going to throw the Poison Throwing Knife. Boom. You saw that I gained an additional 20,000 souls, and my Soul of Twin Princess is still on the ground. So what is happening essentially is that in game's memory, I am sort of storing the fact that I used this item, but it was cancelled by ledge dropping. I then leave the actual physical item, I take it out of my inventory, I put it on the ground, and I force the item from memory. I guess it's like in a temporary state. I force it out of memory and into my soul bank there in the bottom left hand corner by using this Force Poison Throwing Dart combination. Now notice I'm not using up the throwing knife in the middle of that force cast. It's because I still have in my hand the soul item. Now that is one way of doing the dupe glitch. It's unsafe. It's not really safe way of doing that glitch. The safer way of doing the glitch, in my opinion, go to use your item, use it, but instead don't use it. So right here when you get this little notification, you're gonna say no. Boom, no. Alright, now come back and leave the item on the ground. In memory right now is the fact that you're about to use that that boss soul. Force, Poison Dart, bam. This is a much safer way and faster way of duping boss souls. Now this does not work for normal souls like these. So your large soul of a weary wanderer, your great champion, so on and so forth, those do not work like that. You would actually have to use a ledge to dupe those. But those dupe with more souls, and they're much faster than duping, say for instance, a boss soul. In this game, boss souls cap at 20,000. So something like a boss soul. So if you're a new game, boss souls will only give you 20,000 souls, and just about any of these large souls that you might find throughout your playthrough will only net you about 20,000, 25,000. If you want something like a great champion, which is 50,000, you're gonna have to go to New Game Plus and find it there. Alright, now essentially what we're doing on the floor here, this glitch, so no, we're not going to use it, we're going to drop it, so we're going to leave it on the floor, and we're going to force it out using Force and the Throwing Dart. Basically this is a modified version of the tumble buff. Now what is the tumble buff? It's a way of buffing up unbuffable weapons. So in PvP or in PvE, whatever you might want to play, I'll give you an example. Here's a sword that can't be buffed up. It's a Lightning Lothric sword plus 10. I will give you an example of it being buffed. So I'm going to buff it with the Karthus Rouge. Hopefully you can see it, so I'm going to sort of move the camera over here. notice that my sword is essentially just a silver sword. The light from the bonfire kind of doesn't help, but yeah, you can see it's just a regular plain silver sword, but it's already a lightning weapon. I can't buff it with Carthus Rouge. If I hit my square button, you can see that my character doesn't know what to do. Alright? What we can do after we failed that attempt is, because I failed to use this buff, it's still stored in memory, I can just force throwing knife out that buff. So force throwing knife. See, I didn't use the throwing knife, but now look at my weapon. It's been buffed. I buffed an unbuffable weapon, and this isn't the only weapon that you can do that. You can do that with other two-handed great swords and that kind of stuff. So yes, this is how you buff unbuffable weapons. The tumble buff glitch. And modifying that glitch again, what you can also do is you can also invade other people's games. You can invade other people's games by using, instead of, say for instance, a buff like that, we would instead add into our inventory something like the red eye orb, and let me see, do I have any homeward bones? Yes, a homeward bone. Used at the correct time, you can actually use a red eye orb as you're looking for someone. Use a homeward bone out. It won't homeward bone you out because this will be locked out. Force poison throwing knife at the right time as a mound maker covenant. So let's actually, am I part of the mound makers? Yes, I am. So let's actually try this out. Let's go somewhere and try this out. So this will force me into someone else's game. Let's try here, the Great Belfry. I'm gonna leave. I just want to show you what will happen. The clear indication that you did it right, hopefully, is when you get no notification when you enter someone else's game. When you force yourself into someone else's game, you can even enter their boss fog. That's very important to know. They don't know that you're there, and if they try to escape by running into the boss fog, you can also run into the boss fog as well. So here's an example. So I'll use the red eye orb. Invade another world. Yes. As I'm invading, I'll get a notification here. That won't work. And then once it gives me the starts invading sign, you'll see it here. I'm gonna get another notification soon. Mad Spirit or something. We're gonna force and poison throwing knife. So there we go. I jammed it a couple of times. So I pressed the score button a couple of times. That's why I used up a throwing knife, but it did work. You'll see here. We'll have confirmation. See, that player did not get a notification that I'm in their game right now. They have no. If they try to run into the boss fog, they have no idea that I can follow them in there. Actually, no clue where they are. I'm just gonna surprise them and just let them kill me too. I really don't. It doesn't bother me. It looks like they're fighting the boss already. Did they beat the boss? It looks like they beat the. Oh no, they're in the middle of the boss. See, there's the host, and we can enter the boss fog. They have no idea what's going on right now. That's okay. We're gonna help them out. I didn't mean to kill that dude. I didn't want to kill that dude. I actually wanted to help him out. But yeah, as you can see there, you can do that kind of stuff with the glitch. It's a modified version of that tumble buff glitch. Essentially what you're doing is you're using force and you're using a throwing knife immediately to draw stuff out. Okay? I hope this was interesting and it helped whoever needed a help, or frustrated whoever needed to frustrate. Alright?